Hi, so here's round 2 for my videos. I have a AirPod in, so hopefully the sound is better this time. I want to say thank you so much to everyone who has watched that last video, and if you've shared comments with me or sent me a message, I really, really appreciate it. Come on up, girl. So that first one was just super, super raw. Here's little Debbie girl. And Charlie. So the first video was really raw. I wasn't even planning actually to post it, but then after I finished, I was like, you know what? It's better to get it out there than have it be perfect. And that's the way I feel even with this video today, that I would just rather get it out there. And, excuse you. She had a little burp. So I'd rather get it out there than have it be perfect. And I think each time I make a video, it will be better and better. Like right now, I'm even wondering if that's making bad sound. So we'll give it a go. I wanted to make this one probably a bit shorter, and I started off by telling you guys about sort of like, it was recent what had happened and what motivated me to start talking and make these videos. And I would like to start actually this time more at the beginning and share a story about how it sort of all started, or it was slow and steady progression, and also it didn't happen all at once, meaning I didn't get to that place of just total inside, on the inside. And it all began in about 2010, 2011, when I had done my first teacher training with Larry and Marie Schultz in Thailand, and I had come back to Edmonton, and my sister and I were looking for a new studio, or a studio to practice at. And at that time, it was under another name where we went, and the teacher was the same, the owner was the same, and just immediately I could feel that he zoned in on us and came over talking to us. That's really nice to do with new students no matter what, but this felt very targeted. He came over to us before class and after class, and just was very charming, and said oh, so your practice looks nice, it looks good. And I said, oh, actually I just did my teacher training with Larry Schultz, it was so awesome, really loved it in Thailand. And he's like, oh yeah, I know Larry Schultz, I know him, yeah, pretty good. Well, have you thought about where you want to teach? And I was like, oh no, not really, not yet. He was like, well, would you want to teach here? And I was like, well, okay, yeah, this place looks awesome, and the caliber of teachers are really high, of course I want in on this. So I said, yeah, of course I would want to teach her. And he's like, okay, well, all my teachers here have to go through my teacher training. So I have one coming up. It starts in 2 weeks. You should consider taking it. And I was like, oh wow, well, I just got back from Thailand. Okay, and you guys, this was first day I ever met him. Maybe second. No, I'm sure it was the first class I ever went to, the first time I ever met him. That's how quickly I got in, and he got me feeling special, like right from the beginning. He said to me, well, if you'd like to take it, I'll actually just gift it to you. I'll give it to you. And I was like, because I had said, well, I just did my teacher training, went traveling, like I don't have thousands of dollars to invest in this and time in this other training. But then he said he would gift it to me, and nothing ever comes free. Let me just tell you that. Everything has a cost. And that's one thing I recognized a lot with him, was that he would gift things to people, like in the beginning, like, oh, just take my teacher training for free, or like, oh, you're taking it, well, get your husband to take it too, and he can have it for free. And then we're like, oh, just come to the workshop, or oh, I'll give you a good discount on Banff, or whatever it might be. Because then people feel like, he's so nice, he's so generous, I owe him. Like, I'll do anything for him. And that's like how it starts, like literally that fast. And yeah, nothing ever comes free. So I did the teacher training, and honestly, at the time, I just thought, oh, he's just such a nice yoga teacher. He's married, he has a son, all this. But then actually, when it came down to it, now looking back, I'm just like, oh, wow, that was all very, he made me feel special, but I wasn't. And I realized that from the start, that it was all like very planned. It didn't just happen this way. Like, he has a system, he has a goal in mind, and he makes that happen. He made that happen. I think like one of his goals at the time was to have like as many good looking teachers as he could, because like that was the time when a lot of us teachers like looked the same, which, you know what I mean, like just like that Lululemon, like thin, blonde, white, you know? So right from that teacher training, it was totally like, I took it as flattery, but now when I look back on it, it's love bombing. I felt special, but really, I wasn't. Come on up here, girl. And like things he would say, like once he said to me, you might just be too sexy to teach yoga. Like, what does that mean? When that happened, that's what I was thinking, like, what does that even mean? Like, is he hitting on me right now? Is that a good thing? He's married, like, but I like him, this is flattering. Ooh, maybe like, would this be interesting? No, he's just a nice guy. Like, he's so evolved. Like, he would never do that. He loves his wife so much, and all this. Well, he only loves people for as much as he can take from you, get from you, how much like supply you'll give him of, yeah, narcissistic supply. Like, meaning like he wants you always, your life wrapped around him. He wants you to be thinking about him, worrying, happy. It's like a cycle, you know? And it's really destructive when the same person that you're supposed to go to, like, for trust and safety is also the one that's putting you in danger and is not to be trusted. And that's the crazy thing. I thought my life was just like useless without him, or like my life would be better with him. And he would say things like that, like, what would you be doing? Who would be your friends? Where would you work? We're the best studio in the city. Like, we have the best family. Everyone wants to be a part of what we have. And if you don't, there's something like wrong with you. Like, you're not evolved, or you've got issues, like you're muggles, like just regular people instead of like yoga people. There's totally an elitism in yoga, and like, well, if I practice, then I can get away with this, or I can do this, or, well, I'm a yogi, so I'm like better than everybody. Or even worse, I'm a blank yogi, and that's the best kind, and no other yoga is as good, and everybody wants to teach this and be this, and we're so lucky to like be teaching this. I really believed that. I really believed that I was so lucky. I was so happy to be teaching yoga. I was such a proponent of it, which now is like, I also feel to make these videos so that I can counteract all of the promoting of it I did. Because I did do that, I just want it to be really clear that I don't promote that anymore. And even at the time when I was promoting it, I really did think it was the best. Like, that wasn't a lie or put on. It was maybe some like brainwashing. So how are you all doing? Okay, one more story, and then I'm probably just gonna quit this video for now. I wanted to tell you about when the relationship really changed from being student-teacher to being like inappropriate, fully inappropriate, was one night I was living in Vancouver. So I was living in Vancouver one night. He was out there teaching with another, not with anyone else, but like there was another yoga teacher who was helping arrange workshops for him out in Vancouver. So he was there teaching one, and I hadn't actually seen him for like a couple of years since I stopped teaching at the studio, and because this was like, I sort of was on and off at that studio with that school for like 10 years. So this was more in the beginning when, like the first time I taught a couple years, and then I moved to Vancouver. And while I was there, he came out and we were just like hanging out. I thought, oh, this is so great. Like, I get to be friends with him. And oh, at this time he was also separated from his wife. So it was interesting because his vibe did totally change from like the guy I knew before to now like this married guy, unmarried guy. And Gotta stay warm. And we're hanging out one night after like the workshop. We went for dinner, whatever, hanging out one night at my place, and just like having fun. I was like really surprised, like, oh, whoa, like he's like letting loose, and like, ooh, this is cool, like a yoga teacher that does this, like not so hardcore, like vegan, not drinking, or like, you know what I mean? He would drink wine, spend money on nice dinners, like really, it was impressive and interesting, and you felt like, ooh, I sort of want in and to partake in that. Everyone else looks like they're having fun, and like, so was just like really intrigued. And then we were upstairs at my condo, so another woman who ended up being my roommate in Vancouver, not my friend anymore, he says to me, Kenna, you're really beautiful. You're really beautiful. Like, I'm actually really attracted to you. And I was like taken aback, because for me, I was just like, cool, like I got to have a friendship with my yoga teacher. I had actually, whole nother video, dated his brother. So I didn't at all think that I was like interested in that person, or like that was appropriate. I was just like, well, this is cool, we get to be friends, and I get to have a deeper relationship with this person I trust. And I was really taken aback. I was like, oh wow, what did you say? Like, oh, thank you. And then he was like, yeah, like, do you want to come into the bedroom with me? And I was like, no, not really. Why? And I'm like looking at the other girl, and she's just like, I'm like, no, not really. And she's like, and he says, well, do you want to know what name and name these two women that were very close with him at this time? Do you want to know what they know? Of course, I'm like, yeah, I want to know what they know. That's what I'm thinking. And he's like, okay, well, come with me. And I was like, I'm a curious cat, like, I'll go. So we go into the bedroom. Actually, just wait, before this, I look at my friend, really his like accomplice, and she says to me, like, I'm sort of like, should I go into the room with him? Should I know what you know? And she's like, when the guru calls, you listen, you go. I knew it wasn't right. I knew I didn't want to go, but then there's like other people around you, like, you want to know, you should go, you should do it. Encouraging, or like, because that's a whole part of it too, like the gaining, like she gained power and reputation and privileges with him because she would get him new prey. She would like soften them up, butter them up, make them feel comfortable, desired, safe, secure, like nothing was wrong. And if you weren't comfortable with it, or like at any time, like, there's something wrong with you, sweetheart. So when the guru calls, you answer, you go, you listen. So I was like, okay. So we went into the room, and I was like, just feeling really uncomfortable, but also like curious what's gonna happen. And he's like, so I wanna kiss you. I wanna kiss you on your lips, but not these lips, these lips. And I was like, whoa, okay, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, you're my yoga teacher, and like, no, like, I really like you, but no. And he was like, well, if you wanna know what blank starts with a J and blank starts with an A, no, we have to do this. This is like an initiation. There will be information like downloaded into you, kind of thing. Like, this is your new opening. So I said no a few times in different ways. Not comfortable with this, don't want to. Like, you're joking, right? These are all things I said. And basically the way I felt was that at this point I was cornered in a room. I felt like if I didn't, like, I wouldn't be like part of this group or whatever. These people are at my house, and it was just a very vulnerable situation. He had already gotten me away from my best friends of many, many years. At that point, he had created situations that led us not to be close. Like, I was isolated within this group. I really wanted to like be a part of it. I didn't want to be outcast. Like, I saw opportunity here, and I felt like special, and yeah. So honestly, I felt like at this point, you know what? He's not gonna give up. Like, he's not listening to me. Like, he's basically like, this is happening. Like, that's how I felt. Like, it didn't matter. Like, initially, you know what I mean? You're like, ooh, but then every time it's like a little bit less, till you're just like broken down and tired of like saying no. And I was just sort of like, well, it will be easier if I just like let it happen. Then, like, I don't know what else to do. I've already tried like saying no, saying I'm uncomfortable, saying I don't think this is appropriate. And he just kept pushing, like, and that's the thing, you say, and like, he just keeps pushing those boundaries. And I think that's on purpose, because once that happened, I felt like so many things. I felt like embarrassed, ashamed, excited. It just got me on a whole new like ball game when that happened. Like, because I felt like I had done something wrong, because I dated his brother, and so I felt like, oh, if he knew, he's gonna be so upset. I don't want to hurt like his feelings, but at the same time, like, he wouldn't do that. Like, a normal person wouldn't do that to their brother, right? So I was just thinking, well, there's like a plan to all of this. There's like a purpose to all of it. I just can't see it now, but like, I trust him. And I'm so in. It's like, at that point, I just was like, the only way I saw was like deeper in, deeper in. I didn't really imagine my life like without that. I thought that I would be devoted to that person, that school, for my entire life. I thought it was going to be like us teachers, J, A, K, E, A. I thought all of us were going to be like, you know, worldwide teachers, really proud to be teaching the system of yoga, etc. And so my life, like, I wasn't thinking about something other than yoga. Like, I literally devoted my life to that. And funny, because now I feel like my calling is like different, but I found my calling through yoga, but it's not yoga in the way that I thought it would be. I thought I would be making YouTube videos like inhale, reach your arms up, you know, that kind of stuff. And I'm making videos talking about the bad stuff that happened while in that. Also, I'm realizing this video is getting up to 26 minutes now, so it's not actually maybe going to be as short as I was thinking, but that's okay. Thanks so much for like sticking along with me here and listening and sharing this with your friends. Anyone who is in doubt or heard something about me and my story, you know, but here, this is me, here I am saying, and so we ended up doing that thing, and I felt so sad during it, to be honest. I was just like shocked. I was just like, okay, I guess I'll let this happen. What is it gonna be? Like this initiation download, like, okay. But it wasn't anything special. Like, it was I was gonna say, it was terrible, actually. Because there was just so much, like, insecurity around it, and, like, unknowing, like, well, what does this mean, and all that. Who do I tell? Who can I tell? Was this good? Was this bad? Do I love him? Does he love me? Like, so the fact that I felt I had done something bad, like this whole feeling of feeling bad literally was like up until that day I made the first video. I was like still feeling bad about that thing that had happened. I'm just like, you know what? Now there's no point of feeling bad about anything. This is just like the truth. And I would rather say the truth than have it be like perfect or pretty or into a nice little thing. So, okay, that's all for now. Bye. Love you.